Society has completely lied to us. They tell us that the most important thing that we can do is focus on the number that's in our bank account. And it has, in turn, created a generation of selfishness within people. This isn't a video I want to make attacking anybody, but I do believe that there is a problem in today's day and age where a lot more people do not want to have children. And to me, that's very concerning. I think if there's one thing that we're supposed to do in this life, it's to have kids. It's to pass on our legacy. It's to pass on our genes and to continue sharing the beliefs that we believe in the rest of the world. But for some reason, I feel like that has been going away a lot. As a early 30-year-old, there are a lot of people I know who still don't have children who are even older than me. And here I am with 2 kids. It's kind of concerning considering there's more of them that don't have kids than the ones who do have kids. And I don't know if it's just a fear of people maybe losing who they think they are with their identity, or maybe it's a fear of free time, losing the ability to being able to do what I want any time of the day. And those are valid concerns, and I completely understand them. But I want to make the argument in this video that having kids, in fact, will make you a happier person. It'll make you a stronger person. It'll make you a better person. And this is solely coming from a man's perspective. I am a father, so this might be a video more towards men, but I do believe a lot of these things could relate back to women as well. The first thing I want to say is make sure that you are married before you decide to have kids. I think marriage is a very important first step because it allows you to create a foundation with somebody, a trust that you trust. You're not just going to walk out and leave them. They're not going to just walk out and leave you. And I know that does happen, and it's a shame that that happens, but I think a lot of that is just a lack of a solid foundation within your relationship first, before you even decide to have kids. You know, this is not, do not go and just start, you know, sticking your pickle in any Latina baddie that you find on the side of the street and, you know, 9 months later you're paying child support. Let's not do that, all right? That's not the point in this video. The point of this video is to be responsible and to like think about this like an adult would, like a parent would. Now, I do want to talk about how having kids does have cons, and I don't think it would be fair to me or you to talk about how good being a parent is without talking about the bad. Because there is a lot of bad, but I will say the good 100% outweighs the bad. So let's talk about this. I can only really talk from the perspective of having 2 kids, a 6-month-old and a 2.5-year-old at the time of recording this. So I'm still in that toddler phase, but when my kids were both born, I mean, there was just a lot of sleepless nights and it just crying and all of that stuff. It's true, you do lose a lot of sleep, and you'll try to find sleep whenever you can. And this is why I think it's also important to have a good partner, because if you can manage, you know, you take some responsibility here, the other person takes responsibility here, that's super helpful, and that's how you can really manage this time. The thing is too, it's a very short amount of time and it goes by very quick. Like in the twinkle of an eye, you know, your kid's older and they start talking. I always used to shake my head, oh yeah, time moves on. It really does. It really does. Finances are a big one, but I don't think it's a reason to not have kids. I think there's a lot of poor people who raise great kids and have great relationships with their kids and still manage to provide for their kids. I don't think money is an issue, but you do need to be more financially responsible when you have children. You can't just go and buy the things that you want anymore. You can't just go and be wasting money willy-nilly when you have to buy diapers that are not cheap. And if you are not doing breastfeeding or anything like that, then yeah, it's a lot of money for formula. It's kind of ridiculous how expensive formula is. Again, if you're gonna put your kids in daycare, that's an expense. If your one partner is gonna stay home and be a stay-at-home parent, you're losing money then. So these are just all factors that you just need to. This is why I say it's important to have these conversations with your spouse and to talk about this stuff, because it's not just all black and white on what you can do. Everybody's situation is different. We're not all born with a golden spoon in our mouths and we never have to worry about anything. A lot of us have to work for what we have, and the little bit of money that we do have, we do hold tight sometimes. And you know, when you got to drop $50 on diapers for the month, it's a lot of money to a lot of people. As they get a little older, you've probably heard the phrase the terrible twos. My wife likes to say it's not true. I kind of do think it's somewhat true. I think it's, your kid is starting to develop a lot of emotions and feelings, and that's why what's so terrible about it is they're kind of learning to talk, but they don't really know how to express themselves or how to say things correctly. So it's a lot of confusion. Like, my daughter will say something and I will just keep asking her, I'm not sure what you're saying, and she gets so frustrated because she's saying it, she thinks she's saying it, but I don't know what she's saying. Learning toddler language, that's like a whole second language. You got to break out the Duolingo for that one. I'm sure you've all seen the videos, and it's so true of, like, a parent, the kid asks for like a banana, and the parent, takes the banana and breaks it in half and gives it to the kid, and then the kid just gets upset because the banana can't be whole again, even though they wanted the banana in half. And that's just kind of, to me, those are things that I find like kind of funny about being a parent, but they can be very annoying when you're out in public and your kid's kind of having a meltdown. It can be a little bit embarrassing, and you just think like, oh, what do these people think? They must think I'm a terrible parent because my kid's crying right now. And I don't really think that's the case, especially if they are parents. Most people understand. It's how kids are. I'm sure there's a lot more cons, but I want to talk about the pros, because the pros definitely outweigh the cons. The main thing I want to talk about is the idea of legacy. Who's going to remember you when you die? Here we are talking about life, but we don't really talk about death too. And I think both of those go hand in hand. If you think back in your life, you've maybe had conversations with parents or grandparents about your great grandparents or your great uncle or your great whatever, all these relatives that you've had, the lineage of your family. I think a lot of people forget about that stuff, and the only reason that you might even know anything about these people is because people in your family told you. We're talking like normal people here, like that just your great-great-grandfather might have worked in a factory his whole life, and he built his own house with his two hands, and he immigrated here from Norway or whatever. It doesn't matter. That person's story is just as valuable, in my opinion, as the Abraham Lincolns or the Martin Luther Kings or the people who, get written about in the history books. It's just that they're these like unsung heroes that helped kind of shape America and the country. So in some way, don't you kind of, if they weren't here, you wouldn't be here. Don't you kind of owe it to them to carry on the story of them, to share with your children about their great-great-grandparents and their great uncle and whoever in the family? I don't know. I know a lot of people have very different family lives, and this can be a very touchy subject to a lot of people. But I do think lineage is important. I do think legacy is important. And then the question is again, who's going to remember you when you die? Where are you going to be in that story? It's only through the children that you raise that you'll be remembered, and they'll carry on the stories of who you were. In your mind, you might not be a fantastic person, or you may not be a billionaire that invented a brand new form of renewable energy, whatever, but to your kids, you're a superhero. You're their idol. They look up to you. And you may say, well, what about my friends and my family, my uncles and my cousins? Like, they're going to carry on my legacy. And yeah, they might for a while, but eventually those people are going to pass on too. If they have kids, their kids are going to be focused on telling the stories about their parents. They're not going to be focused on your legacy. You might think that you're not worthy to carry on tradition or legacy or things like that. And I want to let everybody know that is inherently false, and you should just wipe that from your mind, because everybody's story is inherently different. Everybody has unique things that happen to them on a day-to-day. No two lives are the same. Everybody has something going on in their own right, and your story deserves to be told just as much as mine does. A big thing I hear people say is, well, I got a dog, I'll get a dog or something. And it's like, having a dog is just not the same as raising children. I'm sorry. I know that might also upset a lot of people. A lot of people look at having dogs as like, those are my children. They're not your children, they're your pets. And that's just the truth. You could have a dog that's #1 Purina dog competition dog and winning grand prizes, and that's amazing that you've trained a dog to do that. But the only reason the dog is successful is because you trained it to do that. It's very different than a child that scores their first goal at a soccer game, because you can't You can't train that. Like, that's an experience that can only happen for them. That's part of the beauty of having children too, is getting to experience these firsts through brand new eyes. Like you and me, man, we've got dirt and grime all over us. We've been jaded. Our brains have been rotted to the core due to social media and all of these stupid TikTok videos and all the other noise in our lives that takes place day to day. But these children, they're pure, they're fresh. When you teach them something or you show them something that you may have seen 1,000 times, when they see it for the first time, their eyes light up. I remember the first time I showed my daughter Mario and Luigi, and she was just captivated by them. It was just Mario, she calls him Marno, BG, BG. She gets so excited, and like I could just sit there and play like Mario Kart on the TV, and she just gets so excited, and she's like, Marno, BG, Toad. She gets so excited to see these people, and it's so funny because here I am. I've seen them 1,000,000 times, dude. I grew up with these games, and I get to experience it again with a fresh set of eyes through my child. And then I'll get to do it again with my son. People do drugs because they're always trying to chase that first high when they first took the drug. I swear, watching my daughter freak out about Mario and Luigi is a way better high than any drug I've ever taken. And I can't wait for my son to grow up a little bit and also freak out. And then I'm gonna have 2 little kids that are just obsessed with seeing Mario and Luigi. Dude, it's such a good feeling. Dude, I might go for a third. After this video, I'm going to Costco and I'm gonna start buying size 1 diapers now. I'm gonna tell you guys the best moment, the moment that I fell in love with being a dad. And it wasn't too long ago. When my daughter was born, there was a little bit of a disconnect because here's this new human in my life that I have to care for, and I loved her immediately. Of course I did. But I didn't really feel connected to her on any sort of level. I feel like with women, it's a lot easier for them to instantly feel attached to the child. It wasn't until a couple months ago when my daughter first started talking, and she sleeps in our bed, and I get up for work at 5 in the morning. And, it's just another day. I'm miserable because I'm waking up early, going to a job that I hate. And in the quiet morning, I say to my wife, I love you. I'll see you later. And then I hear responded back, my daughter says, I love you, Dada. I swear on Jesus Christ himself that I have never felt more dopamine and adrenaline hit my body than in that moment. It was the best feeling I have ever experienced in my entire life. And, I love my wife, man. I've never felt that way when she said it to me. It wasn't until this little kid who just woke up from a deep sleep sees her dad leaving to say, I love you for the first time. I felt so much energy pumping through my veins, dude. It was like I felt so refreshed for the day. I had the best day of work. I felt amazing. I felt like Superman. I felt like I could literally fly to the sun, touch it, and come back. That, to me, a moment like that is why it's worth it. And I know as my children get older, heck, they might even be watching this video some point in their life. There's gonna be more challenges. There's going to be more things that are going to test my patience, that's going to test my sanity. And I just know it's only gonna get harder. But at the same time, all I really need to think about is that moment of my daughter saying, I love you, Dada, and it's all worth it. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I didn't mention it in my last video, but I would appreciate you guys subscribing to this channel as I'm trying to grow it, and maybe we can reach monetization at some point, and I could maybe afford those extra diapers. Let me know in the comments if you want kids. I would love to hear. You don't have to give your whole story, but I'm curious about people's, how old you are and what if you want kids, because I'm seeing it more and more that younger people just feel so jaded with this life, and I think it's a shame because I think having kids is one of the truest forms of joy I've ever experienced.